I don't know how to start this video. Should I start it with the opening sentence, once upon a time? Because you couldn't make it up. You really couldn't, and Grimm's fairy tale and the Anderson books were genius at telling tales. But they said there's a very thin line between fact and fiction. Very, very thin line. But I want to share this with you. There was this Rastafarian, okay? He wasn't a Nation of Islam, he was a Rastafarian. He had a shop, okay? I won't mention any name just in case the people from there watch this video. And he had a shop selling yams, etc. But also, he was selling Louis Farrakhan's video, Nation of Islam. And he was always talking about black consciousness, black consciousness. That's all he used to talk about, black consciousness, and we've got to unite, etc. But wait for the shock, wait for the shock. It was this narrative that got people going to his shop and obviously buying his products. Okay, he would also promote. I'm not sure whether he bumped the prices up on Louis Farrakhan's video. I'm not sure whether he did or not. But the prices were excessive. However, so you would go in there and you would end up with a lecture, on black rights and black consciousness, etc. Blah blah blah. However, what I noticed, and I mentioned it to 2 or 3 other people, and they says, yes, we've had our suspicion. This guy, he was selling Louis Farrakhan's video, etc. He was talking black rights, black consciousness, and he talking sweet. Talking sweet, like the devil come as an angel of light. But do you know something? Sometimes, the police do a raid, drugs raid, in that area, and they mentioned them. They did a drugs raid in that area, and people ended up, getting caught for selling drugs. I'm not justifying it at all. Why? This is not the aim of the video. Okay, the aim of the video is be careful of people's intention. Just because they talk black consciousness, you don't know their motives. What is behind it? When they're asked to collect money, etc., to build dodgy schools and nothing happens, I'm saying be careful of people who talk black, but they're living, something doesn't add up. Anyway, when the police do the raid, etc., drugs raid, and the police in the area, and you find out certain drug dealers got arrested, blah, blah, get thrown in prison, whatever. And this guy, forgot, he also sold drugs. Never, ever had a police, in fact, I'm sure, I can't prove it, but I'm sure I saw him talking to a policeman outside his shop at a strange hour. I can't prove it, okay, so don't quote me on this, okay? His shop has never, ever faced a police raid. Never. Everybody in that area, they'd receive a knock on their door for this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, wait there, is he selling Louis Farrakhan's video, selling drugs? Then what's happening is somebody stepping on his territory. And he did a deal with the police. Look, I'll become your informer. I will tell you what's going down. Who's selling what? Talk black, talk big. I made a video I had COVID last 2 weeks ago, so it would have been about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I made a video, okay, and I was saying how be careful those who say that they are black conscious, your black and white leaders, because after the death of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, the FBI says the next leader, they will talk strong, talk black, etc., but they'll be working for us, and you will see no changes in the black community because they'll be working for us. So this guy was selling Louis Farrakhan's video, selling drugs on the side by preaching black consciousness. Yeah, something, not once has he ever faced a police raid. And people, one or two people were questioning it. Everybody else is so dumb. Just tell them what they want to hear. Scream and speak in tongues. And they'll go off in tongues with you. And not question, wait there. Selling Louis Farrakhan's video, selling black cars, when you go to his shop, talking a big black talk. Yeah, something? He's never had the police knocking on his shop door. Yeah, he sells drugs. And 2 or 3 people, we reckon he's an informant. So even in the black community, you got to be careful. Those that look like you and selling your business, you got to be careful, because they talk a good talk, but you got to question, what are their motives? What are their motives? Why is this guy not had a police raid yet? Why? Something doesn't make any sense. But every time I'm sure somebody says, every time there's a police raid in the area, and his son as well, his son's a snake. I can never stand his son. Real vile, really vile. But whenever there's a raid in that area, it never touches them. And people can't, for your own survival, you've got to put 2 and 2 together. You've got to start using your head for your own survival. Because just because you're from Abraham's seed, don't mean you're Abraham. You could be from Abraham's seed, but you're not living the life. You're not living the faith. You just happen to be from that seed, benefiting from that birthright, and that's it. You're not living the legacy. And this is what's happening. Just because somebody happens to have a selection of Louis Farrakhan's video and promoting black consciousness, you think, oh yes, they really hit. You gotta wake up, because sadly you'll be taken for a ride. This guy is obviously not only a hustler, but he's also an informant. Selling drugs in the black community, right? Yeah, at the same time, promoting black consciousness, yeah, informing on his rivals. You couldn't make it up. You really couldn't.